Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, watching for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts. Add another cold cut to giving, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh. Bahashima Mashiach Malak Yabushai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming for Mashiach Malak Yabushai. A hearty, mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there in the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry. Salaki presented their body as a living sacrifice and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Akwath out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being submissive and diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremother. Shalom, shalom. And shalom to everybody tuning in live. T. Sellers from Egypt to Israel, D. Rivers, Ephraimite Ak, Yafet Israel, Richard Perez, Don Israel, Nigel Blends, Passport Hebrew, HBK Int, Qua Israel 23, V.Y. McKellar, Yolanda Caesar, and everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. All praise to Yahweh Bashmi Abashai. It is the 8th month of the year, right? It is the 8th month of the new year. Happy new moon to Yasha Allah scattered abroad. It's a beautiful time for Yahweh Bashmi Abashai's judgment in the earth. It's a beautiful time to examine the new moon and to increase in light and to wax strong in light and wax strong in truth, right? That's what this part of what this new moon is about, right? It's about increasing in light and having that month by month period to examine yourself to increase in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Abashai, right? So the topic of this code, of this new moon lesson, right? End time visions and the three worlds. Let's dive right into it. We're going into this because we're in the spirit of judgments in the earth. We're in the spirit of judgments in the earth. Yahweh Bashmi Abashai is touching the earth in a manner that has not been touched before, right? First, let's go to Psalms, right? Chapter 47, right? This is Psalm chapter 47 and verse 1. It reads, "Oh, clap your hands, all ye people. Shout unto the Most High with the voice of triumph. For Yahweh Most High is terrible. He is a great king over all the earth." And the Most High is terrible, man. I mean, look at what Yahweh Bashmi Abashai is doing on the earth, man. Right? You have so-called babies being beheaded, decapitated. Right? You have women being destroyed and children being destroyed amongst our enemies. Right? You have massive earthquakes going on in the earth. You have seditions and people calling for global jihads, and you have people being assassinated and public officials dying and ground invasions and 24-hour decrees to leave lest you be bombed and destroyed out the land. The Most High is doing this, man. He is terrible, and he's the one calling the shots. It's not a matter of the IDF calling the shots or Babylon the Great. We give credit often to these Rothschilds, these Rockefellers, these elites. But at the end of the day, it's all being orchestrated by Yahweh. He is the mastermind behind everything going on the sun. And the Lord said in Sirach, the 18th chapter, and he governeth the world in the palm of his hand, man. And all things obey his will. Right? This Ecclesiasticus chapter 18 and verse 1. He that liveth forever created all things in general. The Lord only is righteous, and there is none other but he, who governeth the world with the palm of his hand, and all things obey his will. For he is the king of all, and by his power dividing holy things among them from profane. So the Most High is controlling everything that you see on the earth, from the waters and the tides that come in the evening and the morning, unto the birds, and to the ants, and to the bees, unto wild beasts and tigers and bears, to the creeping things, to the missiles being created, to scientists working in laboratories, to the average Joe getting up in the morning, profaning the Sabbath. Everything is being controlled by Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. So all of these judgments are done by the Most High. He has set these things up. And everything is going to obey his will. Nobody's going to strive against their maker. because the Most High's will is going to be done. Right? So don't get it twisted, man. Don't give power unto man where the Most High is the one that deserves the praise, man. All of these things are being done by our God to bring about a salvation for us and for the Most High's name to be magnified. And we're the ones that's going to give credit to Yahweh for putting these judgments out on the earth, man. He's the one putting the hits out on these Palestinians, on these Israelis, man. The Most High is doing it. And we're the only ones that's going to tell you that. CNN isn't going to tell you. CBS and MSNBC and mainstream media, not even the alternative media and the whistleblowers, are going to give credit to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. But he is the one controlling this, man. And we're the only ones that kind of know that. Right? So we, right, like it says in Psalms chapter 47, it says, "Oh, clap your hands, all ye people, shouting to the Most High with the voice of triumph," man. So we got to praise Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, for what the Most High is doing on the earth. Yeah, bro, I don't want to shout. What if I wake up my neighbors? It's the new moon, man. It's the new moon. It's the Sabbath day. You got judgments and wars going on in the earth, man. For the Lord Most High is terrible. He is a great king over all the earth. He shall subdue the people under us and the nations under our feet. He shall choose our inheritance for us, the excellency of Jacob, whom he loved. So you can't get around that, man. The Most High right now is on the path of subduing the people under us, man. He's already doing it. And the nations under our feet. So it's a beautiful new moon. It's a beautiful 8th month, man. A beautiful 8th month of the year. And you have judgments going on mightily upon the earth. Right? Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra. Right? Because we're going to talk about what the Most High is doing on the earth in these last days. Right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra. Right? And we're not going to stop talking about the last days. Why do they keep talking about the end of the world? Why do they keep talking about, being delivered? Why can't we talk about well, we're going to talk about what the Most High is doing on the earth. Everything right now is on the back burner. We can't, but like to tell you in Acts, we got to speak what the Most High is doing, man. The Lord says, surely, let me get this first. Got a lot of precepts coming to mind through the Spirit. Right? This Amos chapter 3 and verse 7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. The lion hath roared, who will not fear? The Lord God has spoken, who can but prophesy? So if the Most High is if he's roaring, because he's the lion at the end of the day, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And Yahweh Shai is the lion of the tribe of Judah, the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star. He's roaring on the earth. Like, well, I don't hear a lion. I haven't been. Well, the roars on the earth are the missiles. The roars on the earth is the gunfire. The roars on the earth are the judgments. These are the roars on the earth. Who will not fear? The Most High is speaking through his works, through his actions and judgments on the earth. And here's the question that's still on the table. Who can but prophesy, man? I mean, how can you not prophesy? How can you not go into the prophecies? How can you not go into the Most High's judgments that he's doing against these nations? Like we were saying at camp, I believe yesterday, or on the Monday Night Five, it would be off for us not to go into the prophecies in this time right now, man. Right? It reads, published in the palaces of Ashdod, and that's out there where they fighting these wars at, man. Right? And in the palaces in the land of Egypt, and say, assemble yourselves upon the mountains of Samaria, and behold the great tumults in the midst thereof, and the oppressed in the midst thereof. So we have to watch the great tumults, man, and see what's going on in the earth. We have to prophesy, right? Because the Most High is touching the earth mightily. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 17, right? 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and 17. And it happened that when I had heard it, I stood up upon my feet. All right, let me make sure the screen is showing. Okay, kind of. All right, I stood up upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spake And the sound of it was like the sound of many waters. Now that's Yahweh Shai, right? We know that's Yahweh Shai, who's the sound of many waters, right? Let's prove that, right? Plain, quick precept, Revelation 1 and 15. It reads, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. So this is the Yahweh Shai speaking expressly, Slakia, to our forefather Ezra, right? Whose voice as the sound of many waters, right? And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell on the earth, right? And, we bring this precept out all the time. The Most High is visiting them that live on the earth. And again, the Most High doesn't visit you like man. See, the Most High told even Babylon the Great, right? He said, I would not meet thee as a man. So when the Most High visits the earth, let's see, this Isaiah 47:3. He's not going to meet you like a mortal man is going to visit you, right? Isaiah chapter 47, and I'll get straight to the point 3. This is speaking about Babylon the Great, right? But it's applicable to all these nations. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So the Most High, when you meet a man, you salute a man. Yahweh Bashmi Yahweh Barakatham. How's the family doing? Hey, do you need anything? How you feeling in the spirit? Can I help you with anything, brother? Right? That's how you meet a man. What you been reading, brother? Right? You in the spirit lately? You want to pray together? When the last time you fasted? Let's go on a fast. Let's go to. Hey, that's how you meet a man. How's your children doing? How's your son? You think the Most High is going to meet these nations like that, man? He's not meeting them as a man. He's going to meet them as a God, because he is a God, the only God, man. Yahweh, Bashmi Yahweh is his name. So when the Most High say he's going to visit the earth, don't get it twisted. He's not going to visit the earth like a man. They're not going to lay a red carpet down for Yahweh Bashmi Yahweh as he walks on the earth, and there's a paparazzi. Then you have the press out there, and they have a microphone to the Lord. Okay, the Most High has finally visited the earth. Breaking news, 6 p.m. Everybody turn on your TV. It's the Most High. He's finally on the earth. And the Most High, he comes with a suit, comes with a tie. You got a few bodyguards. They got the little earpiece. The angels are kind of looking around. And no, he's visiting the earth by war, disease, earthquakes, and pestilence. Verse 19 in 2 Ezra 6. And I will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. So the Most High is inquiring and pretty much doing recon on what nations have destroyed his people. And the Most High is going to visit the earth when our affliction is being fulfilled. So we have a measuring cup, for lack of better terms, of our judgments. And once that cup is filled, that means our judgments are over. Meaning the curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28, right? Those curses have a set timeline or time limit or how long they're going to run. And once that time limit is over, Yahweh Shah is going to visit the earth, right? Every father punishes his son, but they don't punish their son forever. You may punish your son, for a week, 2 weeks, etc. But eventually, that punishment time is over, man. And right now, we're approaching those times when our affliction is being fulfilled. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. And his world is beginning to vanish away. Right? We're going to touch on this world. This isn't speaking about the entire earth. The earth isn't vanishing away. It's not, okay, here's a piece of the earth that's slowly disappearing. Oh, what happened to California? It's gone. Oh, what happened to Antarctica? What happened to Australia? The earth is slowly vanishing away. And now, no, that's not what it's talking about. When it says, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away, it's speaking about this time period on the earth right now is coming to a close. The powers that be, these illuministic Luciferians, these warlocks and witches in high places, these blood drinkers and chomos and all types of demons are slowly coming to an end. The curtain is closing on the powers that be and all of the wickedness that they have established. That's the world that we occupy and dwell in now. Yahweh Shai calls it the present evil world. And we're going to touch on the three worlds. We touched on it before, but we're going to kind of go a little bit further into it. So this world is slowly vanishing away. The Lord said, then he's going to show signs on the earth. As you see America fall apart, as you see governments collapse, as you see global economies go down the drain, as you see more civil unrest and global unrest and disease and natural disasters on the earth and strange signs and things in the firmament, as you see these things happen, you know, slowly but surely, this time period is of our captivity, and if this world is coming to an end. That's why the Most High said the book shall be open. What are the books? Right? The Bible. These are the books being opened. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, etc. Right? And it doesn't mean they're being open. Okay, it's finally, no, it means the understanding of the truth is being given. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The woman with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The 4 storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And that's going to fully reach its peak once these economies go down the drain. And all your department stores and shopping malls and Walmarts and Targets and Sam's Clubs and Costco's and all those places that are fully sown with merchandise and fully sown with employees and cash registers and all types of ware are going to be robbed and looted by the inhabitants of the earth from sheer desperation and for want of food and goods, man. Going to be found empty. Glass breaking and rape, robbery, and murder is going to be prevalent on the earth. And the trumpet show, and they're already kind of looting now. There's massive looting. You know, it really hasn't been like that before. So you have massive robbery going on in major cities, and people are just taking things at their leisure, man. You don't see any police officers out there, or armed security isn't doing anything. I mean, the world is at a state of chaos right now. There's never been a time on the earth like it is right now, because these are the works of Yahweh, Bashmi Awashad, right? Reading on. It's like you. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. And that's the trumpet and the sound of war, right? At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So when it says friends shall fight one against another like enemies, that's on different levels. On your smallest, like tier 1 level, you're going to have people that dwell in these communities that once are friends, they're going to fight one against another. That's what the Lord said, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor due to lack of bread and great tribulation. Joe down the street and Terry down the street are going to be enemies, man. Once Terry finds out that Joe has bread and food, all of that neighborhood watch, PTA meetings, sports dads club, whatever they got going on, that stuff is going out the window. On a second, like a tier 2 level, you're going to have countries fight against each other, man. You're going to have Canada fight against America, England fight against America, right? Allies are going to turn against one another. And then you're going to have entire nations turn against each other, right? And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still. Now, the springs of the fountains is this truth. right? Let's get a quick precept. The springs that are fountains is the truth. The Song of Solomon, chapter 4 and verse 12. It reads, a garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse, a spring shut up, a fountain sealed. So a garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse. This is talking about, on one level, wisdom. Wisdom is likened unto your spouse or your wife. My sister, my spouse. Remember, even Tobit called Anna his sister, right? Abraham did the same thing, but it's also your spouse on a deeper level. Wisdom is a spring shut up and a fountain sealed because everybody can access these waters. They're not for everybody on the earth or anybody that owns a Bible. The springs and the fountains are for the elect, right? These are the springs that Yahweh Bashmel Shah speaking of and second Esdras that's going to stand still. Because right now they're running, shooting out like a geyser. And the Most High said, truth shall spring out of the earth. Right? Let's get that in Psalm chapter 85. Psalm chapter 85 and 11. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. So the truth is that fountain of water spewing and springing up out of the earth like a geyser. Right? If you look up pull this up. See that? So the truth is likened to the spring spewing up out of the earth. And the Most High said in 3 hours, it shall stand still. See that? Because there's water underneath the earth. Right, let's go back to this. So stand still, meaning the Most High is going to induce a famine in the word, famine of the word. 3 hours is a spiritual time of emphasis or completion. And verse 25 in 2 Ezra 6, and whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. You see that? So the Most High said, if you escape and remain from the famine, the robbery, the destruction, the war on the earth, the famine of the word, you're going to see the end of your world. That's the same world that was mentioned in 2 Ezra chapter 6 and 20. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished. This word world, again, is a verse in Christianity that they completely take out of context. We all know how John 3:16 is manipulated and misunderstood by the inhabitants of the earth, whereas they think that that's speaking about the entire human race and anybody that believes, right? The word world that's going to begin to vanish away is the time you're living in now, right? This is the present evil world. And this world is divided from the time of the fall of Adam all the way up until the second coming of Yahweh Shah. That's the world that is slowly beginning to vanish away. From the time that Adam went off and was exiled out of the Garden of Eden until the time of Armageddon. All right. So really, those are the two time stamps, right? To understand what world that Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, is actually speaking of. From the fall of Adam and his exile until the battle, really the battle of Armageddon. Those are the main two things that are going to separate this world from the world to come and that world from the elder world. All right. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 26. So that's what the Lord said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, right? You have to measure thou the time diligently in itself so you can understand what the Most High is speaking of. So you can know, okay, look, this time period is almost over, right? Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 16. Lord, in trouble have they visited thee. They poured out a prayer when thy chastening was upon them. Like as a woman with child that draweth near the time of her delivery, is in pain and crieth out in her pangs, so have we been in thy sight, O Lord. We have been with child. We have been in pain. We have, as it were, brought forth wind. We have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. So the Most High is likening our deliverance unto a woman bringing forth a child. Now, a woman that brings forth child or children, they call it different trimesters, right? You got your first trimester, right? Your first 3 months. You got your second trimester, which are your next 3 months. You got the third trimester, which is your 6th month to your 9th month, right? Or your last 3 months. And in that last trimester, chiefly towards the end, that last month, and you start having, or a woman starts having contractions, right? They start having contractions, and the contractions are to stimulate to get that baby going, right? To get that baby out of the uterus and get that head, the crown, that baby could get pushed out, right? So like an involuntary muscle action that the Most High created to start pushing this baby out, man. Now, as you reach the time of your deliverance, every brother that has a wife or woman that have children, surely you understand that there's nothing that a woman can do to escape those contractions. Now you can say, well, hold on. Well, I took an epidural. Well, that's when you're giving the baby, which the Most High is not with anyway. But hey, if that's what you do, that's what you do. See, one thing you can try to get away with is the pains of birth. You might get an epidural. This might give you some damn chloroform, right? God knows what, man, that women do nowadays. But one thing that you can escape is the labor pains. You can't escape the pains. When those contractions hit, you can't escape your water breaking. We're approaching the time of the end. This world is vanishing away, and our contractions of our deliverance is getting closer and closer. And the closer, and you got to measure the time like we was going into, man. You have to measure the time even when you are in that period before you give birth. Because people are measure and say, okay, look, your contractions are 30 minutes apart. Okay, then they're 15 minutes apart. Then they're 10 minutes apart, 5 minutes apart. Your contractions are 1 minute apart. If you're not watching and measuring the time, you're going to be caught out there, man. That baby head is going to crown, and you're going to be unprepared, and things might happen that you may not want to happen. God forbid. So you have to prepare. Even the labor pains teach you how to prepare and how to watch and how to measure the times, man. But the Most High is about to have us give birth parabolically unto our deliverance and the end of this world. And we're in that last trimester, and our contractions are getting closer and closer. And pain is going to get closer and closer. You see that? Affliction is going to increase. And to the point of Jacob's trouble. That's that last push that woman has. They always got that last push for that baby come out. And that last push is when you're at the highest form of pain. So that last push is going to be Jacob's trouble, man. That's going to be one of the major events outside of Armageddon that's going to lead us into the next world. Right? So this tells you that we have to measure the times, man. And it coincides with the end of this world, man. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and 34. Right? 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 34. So brothers are approaching the end of the world. This is the 3rd trimester, and the contractions are about to go down. Right? I believe I want 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 37. It reads, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. See that? So the Most High keeps using that analogy or metaphor of a woman with child in the 9th month. The ninth month is the end. You're in the ninth month. Now it's the new moon and it's the eighth month, literally, but you're approaching the ninth month, right? Which is spiritual, right? And the Most High said it bring forth her son within 2 or 3 hours of her birth. Great pains compass her womb, which pains when a child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth. So that's why you see the plagues on the earth, because you're in that time. You're in the time of the end. You're in the time of that third trimester. You see war. You see sieges. You see destruction. You're seeing the end of the world. Because this deliverance is about to bring forth. That head is about to crown. And Israel is about to push and push until we bring forth salvation. You're literally at the end of the world. And again, this is that world that's measured, that third trimester, man. This world is measured from the fall of Adam all the way up until the time that you live in now. Right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 2. Right? 2nd Ezra. You may say, well, why do you start from the time of Adam? Well, that's when the Most High starts, man. Right? The Most High starts this present world from the fall of Adam all the way up until now. Right? 2nd Ezra, chapter 2 and 34. And therefore I say unto you, O ye heathen, that hear and understand, look for your shepherd, he shall give you everlasting rest. For he is nigh at hand, that shall come nigh in the end of the world. Right? So when it says, O ye heathen, it's really speaking about the Israelite foreigners that are scattered abroad, discontinued from their heritage, dwell in other lands, serving other gods, taking on the heritage of these other nations, fig leaves and aprons, if you can understand. Our people are heathen, but the Most High is telling them to still look for their shepherd, right? Because Yahweh Shah is still coming to save the children of God that are scattered abroad. Now the Lord said he is nigh at hand and shall come in the end of the world. Again, the end of the world is the time that you're living in now, right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 2. Because you always hear people talk about the last days. Oh, it's the last days. Then people say, well, my grandmother said that. My great-grandmother said that. Oh, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's real, right? I keep hearing it. That these are the same people that the Lord speaks about in 2 Peter chapter 3, right? 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lust, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. So certain people are going to scoff and say, things are still going on the way they've always been going on. From the beginning. Nothing has changed. It's not the last days. It's not the end of the world. I keep hearing about it. Yeah. Well, what did the Most High say? For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water, and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflown with water, perished. So that world perished, man. You see that? The world that is speaking about is the first world. That world is over with. That world was what? From the time of the creation all the way up, really until the time of Noah. All right. Now, when you're dealing with, let's go to 2nd Ezra. Right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra, the 7th chapter. All right, let's go to 2nd Ezra to go into it. This is 2nd Ezra chapter, because the Most High divided it up. 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse, let's get straight to the point. 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 10. And I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion, because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure and brought immortal fruit. So when Adam went off, the Lord put out a decree. There was a decree put out, a commandment put out by the Most High when Adam went off. The decree that he put out was now the time that you're living in, or the world, is going to be evil and painful. Remember, before that, Adam lived comfortable, man. Adam didn't lack anything. He didn't want for anything. He was a God on the earth. He had power to rule all things. Adam didn't have to go through hell and tribulation to receive what he had. The Most High freely gave it to him. And he lived essentially like in the kingdom. You know? Remember, Adam, like I tell you in Wisdom of Solomon, he had power to rule all things. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 10. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 10 and 1. She preserved the first form father of the world that was created alone and brought him out of his fall and gave him power to rule all things. So Adam wasn't just a guy sitting around on a tree, hanging around naked. He named all of the animals. He had dominion over all of the nations. He enforced laws and commandments. He governed the earth. So Adam had power over man and over beasts, man. Adam could summon a beast and it'll come to him. And he'll name it, man. He'll tell the nations what to do. That was the power that Adam had in the elder world. That's the power that we're supposed to have. But when Adam went off, achieving and accessing that power became rough and hard and evil, man. So now we got to go through hell just to obtain that power to rule all things. Now we have to overcome. Adam didn't have to overcome anything to have power to rule all things. Let's go to Revelation chapter 2. Because Adam was part of that elder world, right? Revelation chapter 2 and 25. But that which ye have already, hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh, see that? That word overcometh. He that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. So now we have to overcome evil, tribulation, hell, judgments, wickedness. Then we will have power over the nations. Where's the account of Adam having to overcome hell and tribulation and slavery and, Jacob's trouble and wickedness to have power over all things? He didn't have to go through that. It was freely given unto him. Adam had a reputation, man, right? Before the fall. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 49. So when the Most High is speaking about the end of the world, he's not speaking about the elder world. He's speaking about the present evil world. Right? This is let's see, Ecclesiastes 49 and 16. Shem, or Sem, which is really Shem, right? Sem and Seth were in great honor among men, and so was Adam above every living thing in the creation. So Adam was above every living thing. Right? Remember, stop just thinking Adam was a fool and just bit an apple. There was no apple, man. Adam, got enticed. He did go off. But before that, Adam had power above every living thing in the creation. That was part of the elder world. Adam is pretty much for lack of better terms, a prototype of Israel. He's a prototype. Let's pull up the definition of a prototype. Right? Prototype, a first, right? Typical or preliminary model of something, especially a machine from which other forms are developed or copied. Right? So it's pretty much, and this is a good definition, a preliminary model of something. So Adam's life, Adam's power, Adam's glory, right? Even his fall, all of that is a prototype of the nation of Israel. You see a lot of similarities between Adam and Israel, man. Once you read Genesis and get that understanding. Adam was Israel, for lack of better terms, in the elder world. And Adam, before he fell, is what we're trying to obtain. All right. He was the chosen Adam. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 31. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 31. This is Ezekiel chapter 31 and verse 3. Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon, with fair branches and with a shadowing shroud, and of an high stature, and its top was among the thick boughs. So this is a parable or a dark saying really going into Adam. Although it says Assyrian, it's not talking about Ishmaelite or a Hamite or none of those nations, right? It's a metaphor talking about a man of power. When you read Isaiah 10, Isaiah 14, Isaiah 30, a lot of chapters speak about the Assyrian. And Assyrian can be attributed to a man of power or a man of might. In this context, it's speaking about Adam. And he's likened Adam into a tree. Not just a willow tree or a shrub or a piece of grass, but a cedar tree, which is the tallest, most exalted and glorified tree. Right? That's why the Most High likens man unto trees. He said, I have seen men as trees walking, in Mark 8 and 24. In Psalms 1, it says, a man shall be likened unto a tree, planted by the rivers of water. Right? That's written, man. Let's read on. The waters made him great. The deep set him up on high, with her rivers running round about his plants, and sent out her rivers, her little rivers, unto all the trees of the field. So the living water set him up on high, just like Israel. That's how you know Adam was a prototype of Israel in the elder world. In his world, the deep is the ocean, which is a parable or a metaphor, rather, of all of the waters and living water, which made Adam set up on high, because that's what sets Israel up on high. It's not that we have melanin or woolly hair or wide nose, thick lips, right? We're athletic and tough. No, what sets us up on high? The laws and the statutes and the commandments. And that water was sent out to all the trees of the field. Meaning Adam wasn't just given the commandments to rest upon on himself. His job in the elder world was to disperse that wisdom unto all the trees of the field. So everybody had to submit and obey Adam. They're all the trees of the field, man. All the other men, all the other nations. Right? Psalm chapter 1 and verse 3. And he, meaning man, shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. So again, men are likened unto what? Trees. All right. And if you're planted by the rivers of water, whatever you do, you're going to prosper, because you're absorbing the knowledge and wisdom of the Most High. Let's get another quick precept. Right, this Matthew chapter 3 and verse 10. And now also the axe is laid into the root of the trees. Therefore every tree which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. So if you're a man and you're not bringing forth good fruit, if you're not keeping the commandments of loving your neighbor, being diligent and steadfast, you're going to be cast into the fire. But if you're bringing forth good fruit, you're going to be delivered. So men are likened unto trees, you being rooted as you having a sure foundation in this truth, and the fruit that you bear are your works. So you see the power that Adam had in the elder world. Adam sent out rivers of water unto every tree of the field. They all had to submit and get down. That's a prototype of Israel, because in the kingdom, it's going to be the same fashion. In the world to come. In the world to come, the Most High said, for nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Right? Therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field. It's like what? Deuteronomy 7:6. Right? The Lord has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So you got to draw that comparison between Adam in the elder world and Israel now. Right? Ezekiel 31:5 again. Therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field, and his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of waters when he shot forth. So he grew in power. He waxed mighty. All the fowls of heaven made their nest in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young, and under his shadow did what? Check this out. Dwelt all great nations. All great nations. Because there were nations during the time of Adam. Now, they didn't have the names that we have now. They didn't have Edomites and Moabites and Ishmaelites and Canaanites. And no, but there were nations, plural, back then. You had great nations. You had small nations like you always do. But guess what? Who ruled over all those nations? Adam did. They dwelt under his shadow. They submitted and obeyed him. And he didn't have to overcome anything. Right? Adam didn't have to overcome sin. This was freely given to him. Thus was he fair in his greatness and the length of his branches, for his root was by great waters. Because Adam was constantly in the word, keeping the laws and commandments. So there's a life about Adam that they don't talk about in the church. All they say is Adam bit the apple. Right? Nobody wants to put respect on our forefathers, man. Right? Nobody wants to put respect on him, man. Adam named Leviathan. Right? He named Behemoth. He saw these beasts. He saw these creatures, man. Adam was a king on earth, a god. In the genealogy of Luke, it says who was the son of Adam, who was the son of God. The Most High don't even tell you Adam was the son of a man. Because although Adam did have an earthly father and an earthly mother, right? He's on such a level, the Most High say, hey, he is the son of God. Let me get that in Luke real quick. Right? Let's go to Luke, the 3rd chapter. And this is all part of the elder world. Right? That we read about in 2nd Ezra. Luke chapter 3 and 38. Which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of God. Straight up and down. The son of God. So the Most High dealt with Adam in such a high fashion, and his root was by great waters. Right? Ezekiel 31:8. The cedars in the garden of the Most High could not hide him. The fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of God was like unto him in his beauty. So in the time of the Garden of Eden, in the elder world, nobody was like Adam. They couldn't think like Adam. They couldn't have a God like Adam. They couldn't understand the scriptures like Adam. They couldn't rule over everybody like Adam. They couldn't walk like Adam. They couldn't do nothing like Adam. Or Adamah in the Hebrew. No other man was like Adam, just like now. Nobody's like Israel, man. That's what the Most High said in 2 Samuel 7:23 on down. And what one nation on the earth is like thy people, even like Israel. Let me get that in 2 Samuel. Right? So Adam in the elder world is a prototype of Israel. 2 Samuel chapter 7:23. Right? And we're going to compare these verses because they're saying the same thing. And what one nation in the earth is like thy people? Let's read it in Ezekiel. It reads, nor any tree in the garden of God was like unto him in his beauty. Again, let's read 2 Samuel. What one nation on the earth is like thy people, even like Israel, whom the Most High went to redeem for a people to himself, and to make him a great name, and to do for you great things and terrible, for thy land before thy people, which thou redeemest to thee from Egypt, from the nations and their gods. Meaning the Most High has never done that with any other nation. There's nobody like us, man. There's no other nation that got redeemed out of captivity by Yahweh Bashim Yahushua except us, right? So Adam was a top man. Verse 9, I made him fair. This is Ezekiel 31:9. I made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of God envied him. So every nation back then, they were envious of Adam. They hated Adam because they weren't chosen, because they had to keep the laws. They had to keep the commandments. Adam had them in subjection. They envied Adam because nobody was like him, you know? And they ended up plotting against Adam, man. This is where Genesis 3:1 comes in, where the serpent came in. That was all the plan. It was all the plot to overthrow Adam. It was a secret council, like we always go into the first secret council to overthrow Adam, to go against his woman, to use his woman to overthrow him. And every nation knows that, man. They did that to Samson, right? You know, it happens all the time. Nevertheless, Adam in the elder world was a prototype of Israel. And Adam did not have to overcome anything in order for him to receive what the Most High gave him. Right? Let's go back to this. Right? This Second Ezra, chapter 7, Salakia, and verse 12. I'll start at 11 again. Because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. So although Adam had the laws and the commandments, he sinned. Right? He went off. Let's go to 2 Ezra 3 real quick. He entertained the philosophies of the other nations. Right? 2 Ezra chapter 3 and verse 5. And gave us the body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands. And it is breathed into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee. And thou leddest him into paradise. See how Adam was just led and handed paradise? How do we get paradise now? I mean, we got to go through Jacob's trouble, FEMA camps, beheadings, guillotines, wicked family members, pain and pestilence, trials and tribulation. You got to work at these plantations and jobs, and you got to deal with all types of wickedness, man. Adam was freely led into paradise. That was the life of the elder world, which thy right hand had planted before ever the earth came forth. And unto him thou gavest a commandment to love thy way. What is the love of the Most High? To keep the commandments. So Adam was told to love the way of the Most High, which he transgressed. And immediately thou appointedst death in him and in his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of number. You see that? And every people walked after their own will and did wonderful things before thee and despised thy commandments. So when Adam went off, that was the end of the elder world. Right? Let's go back to that in 2 Ezra. Right? So your first world is your elder world. And it was the life of Adam in his power and glory. Right? Everything was different back then. Remember, Adam, and the people of the earth, they didn't even eat meat. They didn't eat animals. Everybody ate the herbs of the field. Everybody had a so-called vegetarian diet, man. That's in Genesis, the first chapter. That's part of the elder world. Right? Genesis chapter 1. People were taller. The animals were larger. Right? The fruit trees were bigger. This is Genesis 1 and 29. And the Most High said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, To you it shall be for meat. See that? So the Most High said, you're going to eat the fruit of the tree and every herb bearing seed, and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air. So lions didn't eat deers, tigers didn't eat gazelles, eagles didn't eat mice. Everything ate the herbs of the field. And to every living thing that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. You see that? Everybody ate the green herb in the elder world. That was their meat. It's a lot different now, man. So, the world changed. That's what the Most High said. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure and brought immortal fruit. So we're going into what the elder world was. Now, Esau won't talk about that. When you study Esau's timeline of the earth, first of all, he says the earth is what, 4.6? What does he say? 4.6 billion years old. Right, Salakia. 4.5. Right? And when Esau divides the time, let's see timeline of man. Let's see timeline. They say 200,000 years. And everybody was a Homo sapien in Africa. This is what Esau believes. This is not biblical, man. Adam doesn't, us like it. This science doesn't go into the elder world. Right? This is what Esau's into. He's into the, what is this? Neanderthal man, Cro-Magnon man, modern man. Right? Evolution, the monkeys, and this was all set up to deceive you. Look at this. This is the most foolish thing I've ever seen. Look at this. How do you turn from a lizard to a man? Who believes that? Who's really going to believe that, man? Even when we was in the so-called school system in the world, we didn't believe that, man. We was asking questions, man. I know the number one question Jake always asks, okay, well, where's the half monkeys, half humans at? Right? How come they stopped evolving? We used to ask those questions, man. We didn't know what was going on. But how do you turn from an alligator to a man? So Esau doesn't really describe anthropology the way it should be described. Anthropology is the study of man and civilization. Right? Anthropology is the study of the origin and development of human societies and cultures. Right? So that's what this is. The Bible breaks down true anthropology and a study of man and a timeline of man. And the Lord breaks it down into really three worlds or 3 ages. And we're discussing the first world, which is the elder world during the time of Adam. And that had nothing to do with monkeys. This completely contradicts modern day science. We're telling you, or the Most High tell you, that everybody ate herbs of the field. Everybody ate the greenery, the trees, right? Man had laws and commandments. You had a hierarchy of man. There was no half monkeys. You had one top man, right, and his wife, and that man ruled all the other men. Go to Yale and Harvard University and break that down to them and see what they say. Hey, they'll kick you out, man. They'll kick you out because the Bible is completely pushed out of the world. Go to Princeton on a scholarship and do, your what they call your thesis and talk about the elder world. And they want that elder world really to begin 5 million years ago, man. 20,000 years ago. But it's a little almost, 6,000 plus years ago. And that world was wide and short, man. See, when you watch these movies, I remember they had that movie 10,000 BC. And you had and they always make movies like that. These prehistoric age movies. You got saber-tooth tigers chasing man and man hunting down the woolly mammoth. That never happened. It never happened. Well, what about the museum? And I went to the museum, and then hey, it never happened, brother. Yeah, deal with it, man. A saber-tooth tiger was never chasing man. Man wasn't sitting up there, damn, with a dinosaur somewhere. That's Esau's lies. So that's a figment of his imagination. Right? Man and beast lived together. And you didn't have man attacking beast and beast attacking man. That's life in the elder world. So don't believe that the hype that Esau is bringing out, man. All them lies about a guy with a spear and he's looking at a saber-tooth tiger and a saber-tooth tiger kind of jumps on him, and that's all a lie. Well, let me pull that up. All right. Look at this. See that? Esau, I mean, he's always making up stuff, man. This is like a damn, this is folly. That caveman spirit. Right? Never happened. Right? Never happened. Right? Never happened. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 5. Right? You didn't have 10,000 BC and cavemen being attacked. Right? That contradicts what we just read in the Bible. All right? That completely contradicts what we just read in the Bible. All right? Now let's get another precept. Right? So we're going to go to the elder world and transition all the way up until, see where we at with time. All right? Making good time. All right? Transition up until the present evil world. 2nd Ezra, chapter 5 and verse 50. It reads, and I asked and said, seeing thou hast now given me the way, I will proceed to speak before thee. For our mother, of whom thou hast told me that she is young, draweth now nigh into age. Right? And speaking about the earth. And he answered me and said, ask a woman that beareth children, and she shall tell thee. Say unto her, wherefore are not they whom thou hast now brought forth like those that were before, but less of stature? Because that happens, man. If a woman doesn't have a child within her prime age, then as she waxes older, she's more susceptible to pregnancy complications. Right? So if you want to say, hey, look, I want to wait till I'm 45 years old to have a child, you run a risk of that child coming out with a lot of abnormalities, maybe some health defects, maybe some, anything, man. It's not always the case. Remember, Sarah had a child in her old age. A lot of our foremothers did. Elizabeth, and, nevertheless, it's not common to have children at such a high age. Now, if you look it up, let's see what age. Let's see what they say. What age should a woman not have a baby? Let's just see. That by age 30, fertility starts to decline. This decline happens once you reach your mid-30s. By 45, fertility has declined so much that getting pregnant naturally is unlikely. And if you do have a baby at that age, right, that means that baby, something can happen to that baby, right? So aging and fertility affects your pregnancy significantly. But when you're around 18, 19 to like 25, that's the peak age to be pregnant, all the way up before 30. But now they encouraging Eve to get pregnant after you 30, you explored the world, you hoard your body out, you got your double doctorate degree, you done ran through 10 men, they done did things to you, and now you're 35 and you want to have your first baby. That's not how life is supposed to work amongst the Israelites, man. Women had children young, Marriage is a beautiful thing. So what the Most High is saying is, if you ask a woman, this is what he said in Second Esdras, if you ask a woman who had children late in her age, compared that was young, she's going to tell you that the ones that came out late are going to be less of stature than those that came out young. If a woman has a child when she's 18, that child may come out healthy, strong, 20, if she even 21, healthy, strong, mighty. But if you have a child at 45, it ain't going to be the same. That's how the earth is and the generations of man. So when man lived in the elder world, they came out taller, stronger, mightier. Now man comes out and you're damn allergic to the sun. You got all these allergies and you get stung by a bee, you swell up and you die, and you're getting chased by wild beasts, and man is weak now. You're about 5'5". You think Adam was 5'5"? Oh, I'm 5'7", 5. Adam wasn't 5'9". I believe that's what's the average height of man now? We're doing a lot of lookup, right? Average 5'9". Now, back then, man, the man's average height wasn't 5'9", man. So man is waxing worse and worse. Our age, what they call it, the age of mortality, is getting closer and closer. Before, we used to live to be almost 1,000 years. Methuselah was what in the shortly after, right? 969 years old. Noah had his first son after he was 500. Imagine that. You had your first son after you're 500 years old. So we were wiser back then, right? Jake, you got your first son at 21, 22? Kind of trying to figure out what's going on and, okay, what do I do? Imagine being 500. You got this whole thing figured out, man. And you just at the middle of your life. So man was taller back then in the elder world. They were stronger. The animals were larger. There's when you read First Maccabees, you read about an elephant that could hold 32 men. Let's go to First Maccabees. You had elephants that could sit 32 men, and that's during the time of Maccabees. Imagine during the time of Adam, right? First Maccabees, I believe that's 37, Salakia, right? First Maccabees, chapter 6 and 37. It reads, and upon the beast, meaning upon the elephants, right, were there strong towers of wood, which covered every one of them, and were girt fast unto them with devices. There were also upon every one 32 strong men that fought upon them, besides the Indian that ruled them. So back then you had elephants that can have towers of wood and sit 32 men. That's where they get that movie when you watch Lord of the Rings. Elephants, man. You watch those elephants in that movie, that's where they get that from. This is how the elephants looked in the elder world. 32 men, right? 32 men could sit on a war elephant back then. So no doubt the animals were larger. How you could fit 2 people on an elephant now? And the elephant is weak, and he probably don't even have any tusk because man cut it off and sold it, man. Right, but back then, all of the animals were larger. Imagine how large the elephant has to be to hold 32 men. Even the fruit was larger. That's in Numbers, the 13th chapter, and that's during the time of Moses. Right? It's Numbers chapter 13. All of this is part of the elder world, right? Numbers chapter 13 and 23, right? And they came into the brook Escol. These are the 12 spies, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes. And they bare it between two upon a staff, and they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. So it took 2 men to carry one cluster of grapes. Right? So those grapes have to be the size of like a soccer ball or a basketball or a tire of a car. Right? Now things are weak. Now your grapes don't have seeds in them. They're the size of a damn nickel. They all somebody picked in the bag and spit and sneezed in the bag. Right? The animals are weak. The food is unclean. Everything's processed and defiled. The people are worse. They're not living the age that the Most High said. If they're dying at 55 with a heart attack and you got a cane when you're 60, all of this represents the evil days that you're living in now. Right? But if you were able to take a glimpse and go back then during the time of Adam, I mean, the air was clean, the water was pure, right? You can actually drink water. If you go ahead and drink water now from your local river, you're going to be in the hospital, right? You're going to be in the hospital, man. So that was life of the elder world. But when did the elder world reach its end? The elder world reached its end, again, when Adam went off. That's why it says, when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now it was done. So the Lord turned the switch, for lack of better terms, on how life operated. And slowly man's age began to decline. That's why during the time of Noah, what did he do to man's age? He said, my spirit shall not always strive with man. Genesis chapter 6 and 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, but that he is also flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. So the Lord turned down how long man could live. He said, you're living too long. You're so wicked. I can't put up with that. Let me just turn that down a little bit, for lack of better terms. And the Lord turned down man's time, where once man could be about 1,000 years, the Lord turned it down to around 120 at average. Then he said, oh, man, it's so wicked. I'm going to turn it down some more. And then he cut man's life down to what? About 70, 80 years old. Right? Psalms chapter 90 and 10. The days of our years are 80 years and 10. See that? So a score is 20. So if you have 80, that's 3 times 20, which is 60. If you add 10, that's 70. Which is the average life of man. Right? It's biblical. Even if you look it up, what is the average life of man? About 73, right? Probably 70, but Esau don't want the Most High to be true, so he kind of said 73. It's biblical, man. The days of our years are 80 years and 10. And if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off and we fly away. So the Most High gave you 70 years. But if the Most High allow you to live 80 years, it says, yet is their strength, labor, and sorrow. So if you make it to 80, it's not really a life. Look at these 80-year-olds, man. Tell me if they're having fun. They're having the time of their life. Oh, man, somebody's chewing up their damn food, spitting it on a plate. They're getting beat up by young people, healthcare workers. They get abused. They get robbed of their Social Security. Somebody's changing their diaper, giving them pills. They're hooked up to a machine. They got that big breathing box. It's not a life to live, man. That's sorrow. Your grandkids don't visit you. Your father, I mean, your son-in-law hates you. You live with a bunch of old people that stinks. People are dying next to you and coughing up blood. You're pressing that button in your hospital bed. I need help. I need help. And nobody comes for 2 days, man. You're laying around in your feces. You're passing out. You don't remember anything. You got Alzheimer's, headaches. Yeah, you got rheumatoid arthritis. It hurts when it rains outside. You can barely hear what's going on. You can't smell the damn smoke and the fire, and you're just ready to die. You know, you need 5 people to get you out the bed, and it takes 10 men to put you back in the bed. That's part of this life right now, right? It reads, yet is their strength, labor, and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away. Meaning your spirit go back up to the Most High, right? So that's the elder world. And when Adam went off again, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. There are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. Even Jacob said his days were few and evil. Remember, Pharaoh asked Jacob, how old art thou? I believe he said, I'm 140. And he said, few and evil have been my days on the earth. That in Genesis 50 or 47, Salakia. Genesis 47:9. And Jacob said unto Pharaoh, the days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years, right? 130. Few and evil have the days of the years of my life been, and have not attained unto the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage. So Jacob knew, man. He lived 130 years and they were few years. Now, if you make it past 80, you're an old man. Jacob knew that wasn't it, man. He knew his fathers lived to be almost 500, 600, 700, 930 like Adam. To make it at 130 was disappointing to Jacob. That was very disappointing. Now, Jake, you make it past 50 and you're having a time of your life because you don't understand how life used to be for us and how we fell. Jacob knew, or Israel knew, how we fell. And he said, few and evil have the days of the years of our life been. And that's how it's been in America, man. These days have been few and evil, full of work and travail and pain and same thing, man. That's the present evil world, right? That's the world that the Most High spake of that's coming to an end. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 11, right? 2nd Ezra chapter 11, and let's start at 38, right? 2nd Ezra's, Slakia, chapter 11 and 38. It reads, hear thou, and I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, art not thou it that remaineth of the 4 beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? So in the end of the world, the Most High has one last beast that remaineth. The last beast, first of all, this is a reference to Daniel, the 7th chapter, where Daniel saw 4 beasts, right? He saw a lion rise up out of the sea with eagle's wings, which represents the Neo-Babylonian Empire that reigned anywhere between 626 to 539 BC. They fell at the Battle of Opis by the hand of Cyrus the Great. You had a second beast that reigned, which is the Medo-Persian Empire, that reigned anywhere between 550 BC to around 331 BC. They fell at the Battle of Gaugamela as Alexander put to flight Darius III. Right? You had a third beast that reigned, which is the Greek Empire, that reigned anywhere between 331 BC to what scholars would say around 146 BC. They fell at the Battle of Corinth by the Roman Republic. And now you have a fourth beast that remains, which is the Roman Empire, which scholars would say 27 BC. Guess what? All the way up until now. They fell around 476 BC at the fall of the Western Roman Empire. The Renaissance came and the so-called Middle Ages, 1300s, and now they're back on the earth right now. The same Roman Empire, same emperors, same spirits, same structure, same military might, same idea of expansion and global domination. They're that last beast that remains in the end of this world. Right? The Lord said that in this time, this fourth beast is going to be remaining. So when he speaks about the end of the world, he's speaking about the end of this age and the age that Esau is ruling. Remember, the word world or the end of the world is really the end of the age. Right? Let's go back to that. It's really nothing but the end of the age. Because that time period that we spoke about with Adam, that was an age period, right? From the creation until his fall. Now, from that time, from the fall up until Yahweh Shah returns, that's another age. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 5. It reads, "For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and the end is manifest." So it's really the end of the age, right? The end of the age of what? Of this life, of man, and the powers that be, right? Now, when you go to Salakia, let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. I mean, Salakia, the 13th chapter, right? So it says the end is manifest. This is the end of the world, or what the Most High calls the present evil world. Let me get that first. In Galatians, right? This is the second world. The second world is the present evil world. The first world is the elder world. And again, Esau is not going to talk about the elder world, right? That doesn't exist in his mind, but it exists in the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Let's see, that's Galatians, right? Chapter 1. Let's see, in this, believe that is Salakia. Let me get this precept real quick. Present. I have overread it. All right. Yeah, I just read over it. Salakia. Galatians 1 and 4. Who gave himself for our sins that he might deliver us from this present evil world, according to the will of the Most High and our Father. So you got the elder world, and then you got the present evil world. The present evil world is from the time of Adam's fall all the way up until now. This is the evil world. When you have child molesters, pedophiles, nations ruling over God's chosen people, the air defiled, the water defiled, the sins that are prevalent in the earth. This is the worst world, man. Right? This is the most wicked time to ever be alive. You know? And this is the world that we live in right now, the present evil world. But this world is coming to an end. So when the Most High speaks about the end of the world, it's the end of this age. The word world means age. That's what it's going into. It's not talking about different planets. Here's the etymology, right, of the word world. And we've covered it, but we'll go back over it again. So it reads, let's see the original sense of that word. The original sense in world without end, translating Latin cycula or a cyculorum, and in the worldly. Latin cyculum can mean both age and world. You see that? It's really talking about age and world. That's what the word world means. It's not talking about the earth. Because a lot of people say, well, it's the end of the world, and they equate it to the earth exploding, as if some mad scientist sits behind in a laboratory, behind some glass wall, and just presses a big red button, man, and the earth explodes. That's not the end of the world. The end of the world is the end of an age, a time period for the wicked to rule. Let's go to Job chapter 14. And he has a time period, man. Right? He has a time period to rule. This is Job chapter 14 and verse 5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So the Most High said he has determined the days of the so-called white man to rule and the other nations. Every nation had a time period. Every nation's days were determined. The Most High said, okay, I'm going to have the Babylonians rule from here to here. I'm going to have the Medes rule from here to here, the Persians, the Greeks, and you Romans, you're going to rule from here to here. I'm going to set your day from the time of the Renaissance to the day of the Lord. Even his months, the Most High know how many months they're going to rule. And they can't pass that. When the Most High returns, they can't say, okay, well, look, give us 5 more days. Give us 40 more years. Right? No, they can't pass it. The Lord said, turn from him that he may rest till he accomplish as a hireling his day. Because a hireling is a hired servant. You may say, hey, look, I need you to work for me for 1 day till the sun go down. Once that sun goes down, it's over. He can't say, look, give me overtime. No, look, you were hired for 1 hour. For 1 day. That's your shift. Esau got a shift, right? Everybody, the Lord got shifts working for these other nations. And once this shift is over, this world is over, right? This world will slowly and surely come to an end, right? So let's go back to this. Second Ezra's, Salakia. Yeah. Second Ezra chapter 9 and verse 5 again. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So you're in the end of this world. That's why you see wars. That's why you see turmoil. That's why you see earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. Now they're saying Lebanon is getting involved in war, man. That's the end of this age. Right? Let's see if we can pull that up. Let's see if we can type in Lebanon. Because now we're hearing that Lebanon may be getting active. We'll see. Okay, they're saying the IDF are reportedly still firing artillery towards Lebanon in response towards an attack. It's like in response to mortar and ATGM attack earlier today. Right? So, we'll see, man. You got United States, you got their ships out here. Right? You got all these nations kind of getting involved. Right? So we'll see. They're saying Hezbollah launched multiple rockets from Lebanon into Israel. The IDF responds with tank fire. The northern front is becoming increasingly intense. So, we're waiting to see how this thing unfolds, man. It's unfolding day by day. Day by day, something is happening. Because you're in the end of this age. At the end of this age, the Most High told you that certain signs will come to pass. Right? Certain things will happen. And you would know that this world is coming to an end. And one of the major signs is that you will have massive war. Right, Salakia? You have massive war in the earth. Right? You will have nation rising against nation. You will have kingdom fighting against kingdom. That's one of the major signs of the end. Now they're saying there's an attack on northern Israel. Now, if this remains to be true, which is looking like it's true from multiple witnesses and qualified sources, and Hezbollah is indeed involved, that opens up a whole nother battlefront, right? So you have attacks from the south and the north. You got them pushing south on the Gaza Strip, telling people you have to evacuate in X amount of hours. And also, you have an attack, they're saying, from Hezbollah, man. Now, when you look up, which we pulled up before, what's up? Right, let's see if we can find Hezbollah. So again, this is something that we discuss all the time. Russia, Syrian, Iran, Iraq coalition. The Russian, Syria, Iran, Iraq coalition, also referred to as the 4+1, and in which the +1 refers to Hezbollah of Lebanon. You see that? So they're part Hezbollah. If they're getting involved in war, don't you? If this remains to be true, that's going to drive these other nations to get ready for war. Syria will have to get involved. Iran will have to get involved. If this turns into like a full-scale war, then Iraq is going to be there. Russia. Now, if Russia really gets there and they say, hey, look, we got their back, then it's going to be a big deal down there. It will be a major deal if Hezbollah is indeed attacking Israel, man. Because all these nations have allies, right? They all have some type of a military alliance, right? Believe it or not, man. The kings of the East that the Most High speaks of, the Euphrates River drying up, right? You have this is a big deal. This is a big deal if this thing escalates. All right. And that's the symbol right there. You got Russia, you got Iran right here, you got Iraq, you got Syria, and they got a scope like a sniper rifle, man. And this is a what? A military alliance. Right? This is a military alliance. And who is it involved with? Russia, again, Syria, Iran, Iraq, and Hezbollah. And they defend one another. It's not like, okay, it's just a political alliance. Okay, we just do trade with one another. Okay, we'll give you $1. Okay, well, you give us a euro, you'll give us a ruby, a shekel. No, man, this thing is war. And you can see it on the map. Right? You can kind of see it on a map about where they stand. So let's jump up. Let's read. Let's lock here. Hold on, let's get this. Okay, hold on, let's go back. Right, because they're going to play a major role in prophecy. Right, they're going to play a major role. Where is it at? Here it is. Salakia. Right, it reads, bear with me, Salakia. Let me jump down. Okay, here's the agreement. Right, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I want to kind of jump down. All right, at the end of September 2015, a joint information center in Baghdad was set up by Iran, Iraq, Russia, and Syria to coordinate their operations against ISIL. According to the Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov's statement made in mid-October 2015, prior to the start of its operations in Syria, Russia invited the U.S. to join the Baghdad-based information center, but received what he called an unconstructive response. Right? Let's jump down. In an interview with Iranian TV, Assad said that the success of this agreement was vital to save the Middle East from destruction. So they formed this alliance to save the Middle East from destruction, meaning really from the West and Israel, the Israeli army, the IDF, and NATO. That's why this was formed. He said that the year-long air campaign by the U.S.-led coalition had been counterproductive and had helped terrorism spread and win new recruits, but that the new coalition of Russia, Syria, Iran, and Iraq could achieve real results, right? So they're looking to get this thing rolling, man. Right? They're looking to get this thing rolling. And you also have the 4+1 because you have Hezbollah, right? You have Hezbollah. And they're a military faction in Lebanon, right? And they're backed in with Syria and Iran and Russia. So this is a big deal right here, man. Right? They're funded by Iran. They join battle with Syria. They're in league with Russia. Let's see if we could look up Hezbollah, Russia. Right? Let's see what we get. We just get something. Let's see. Let's see. Hezbollah and Russia's alliance, the Nascent alliance. Right? Let's see what we can kind of get out of that. All right. Over the last few years, Russia has quietly extended its reach into Lebanon, seeking to cultivate cultural, economic, and military ties in Beirut as part of a strategy to expand Russian influence in the Middle East, while sidelining the U.S. and elevating Moscow's role as a peacemaker. However, Russia's encroachment into Lebanon has been overshadowed by the conflict in Ukraine and its growing alliance with Hezbollah has likewise received scant attention. So they're looking to push to have that major alliance with Hezbollah. Right? So, this is a big deal. They're backed by Iran and Russia, strong military might. So again, if Hezbollah is right now, as we speak, in the last days and the end of the world, and the visions of Ezra, shooting missiles, right, in war on the northern front of Israel, then this is a big deal. Right? Let's do let's type in, let's see. Okay, they're saying breaking news, IDF killed 2 civilians in Lebanon. This is a big escalation. Right? Let's actually go to, let's see what's going on. Right? 2 people died in Lebanon as of what, today? If we're not mistaken, like I said, we're constantly just watching. This is real time watching. Right? Israeli artillery continues targeting South Lebanon. Like I said, we try to confirm these sources. Right now, we're just going off the spirit. Right? So we want to kind of confirm these just to make sure they're accurate and see what's going on in the earth. Right? Let's type in Hezbollah. Slovakia. Right? So we'll confirm these sources. We'll see how true this thing is. Right? But it's not looking good. It is not looking good. Clashes ongoing between Israel and Hezbollah, with reports that several Israeli soldiers have been wounded. Right? With reports that several Israelis have been wounded. You got North Korea, Iran, Russia, Belarus, and can't forget ISIS, Hezbollah, and Al Qaeda. Real solid group dedicated to causing chaos. So it's looking like this thing is getting real. It's looking like this thing is getting real, and you got things happening out there, man. Right? So you have to take into account that it's not just one person or one military faction against another. It's also an amalgamation because you have all of these different allies that they're associated with, man. Right? That's what the Lord said. The end is manifest. This is that present evil world. This is the end of the world, the last days. Right? The last days. Let's go to the book. Right? That's what we read in Galatians. This present evil world that we dwell in. Right? Let's go to the book of Revelation. Chapter 16. Right? Revelation chapter 16 and verse 13. It reads, and I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. So it doesn't mean it's just literally three unclean spirits. It means there are a plethora of spirits that are pushed out on the earth right now. Now, where are these spirits coming from? Out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the false prophet. Now, what is the dragon? Well, the ancient dragon was the Roman Empire, right? 7 heads and 10 horns, right? And you have the beast. You have the scarlet colored beast upon whom the woman sat upon, which goes into that same Roman Empire back then, or the Greco-Roman Empire, right? Then you have the false prophet, which is not one prophet walking around breaking the scriptures down wrong, right? The false prophet is a system. The beast is a system. The dragon is a system. It's not just one man or one individual. In modern day time, you don't have the ancient Roman Empire walking around with the standard of an eagle. The modern day dragon or beast that is really going into is NATO and the EU. But the focal point is Babylon the Great, because America is the headquarters. They're the ones calling the shots. They're the ones fueling the fire. They're the ones enticing all of the powers that be. These rich illuministic Luciferians, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all these rich bankers, they use America as their corporation to fuel wars and to fund nations to get ready for war. So America is the one pushing the agenda of war. That's what the Most High said. Because these wars that are going on aren't, accidental. They know that these things are happening. War, like we was going into in camp. A lot of what we're going into, we went into camp yesterday. War is a big money maker, man. You have major corporations that own oil, that have oil reserves, that build jeeps and tanks, and these nations make money off of war. So there are spirits coming from up on high, from what you call the so-called Illuminati, the rich bankers, right? And they're warlocks and demons working on the minds of the people to get them involved in a war that they don't even know is being funded, man. Half of the people involved don't know that this war is from on high and that there are spirits sent out to work on the minds of these people. That's why they're like frogs, because frogs are everywhere. And it's really going back into the plagues of Egypt, because the frogs and the plague of the frogs in Egypt were everywhere, man. And you couldn't escape. Or you couldn't escape those things. Right? This is Exodus chapter 8 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh and say unto him, thus said the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs. So Revelation 16 is really referencing the plagues of Egypt. And the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into thine house, and into thine bedchamber, and upon thy bed. That's how these demons are working. They're in people's bedchamber. Man, we got to go to war. They're meditating on war, on tanks, invasions, defense systems, just like the frogs were in people's beds and their bedchambers and these councils. That's how these demons are. And into the house of thy servants and upon thy people. So even the people are being influenced by war. You got people saying, we're pro-Palestine. We're pro-Israel. Because they got these frogs working on them. These demons. Just like the frogs was on the top man that ruled the kingdom, all the way up to the average Egyptian. It was all over. The spirit of war is all over on the earth. To the point where you have citizens willing to commit suicide on behalf of their nation. You have people doing a global jihad. You have people saying they're pro-Israeli. You have people in America saying, I want to go to war. Well, they've been influenced by the frog, by the demon. You have global leaders coming together saying we need to send tanks down to the so-called Middle East. This is the spirit of the frogs in Revelation, the 16th chapter, that's working on these leaders. There are demons working on them, right? It says, and into thine ovens, and into thy kneading troughs. And the frogs shall come upon both, it's like it shall come up both on thee and upon thy people, and on all and upon all thy servants. Right? Let's go to Judges chapter 9. Right? Judges chapter 9 and verse 23. Right? So these are spirits, man. Judges chapter 9 and 23. Then the Most High sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem, and the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech. So the end of this world is going to be caused by evil spirits. And the Most High put a spirit on one man to fight against other men, that they may kill each other for judgment. Right? Here's what's going on in the earth right now. Babylon the Great, their rich illuministic agenda is being made manifest by the media, by being played out by world leaders, right, to get the earth involved in a third global war. The first two wars were orchestrated, right? Like, say, I don't believe that. No, this what happened. They killed this guy, and this happened, and Hitler did this. And hey, look, man. Don't you know there are secret councils that go on? Don't you know that life as you know it is an illusion? And as these things are all set up, man, by the powers that be. That's what Revelation 16 and 13 is going into. There are actual powers behind the scenes that are committing sorcery and wizardry. Let's go to Revelation 18. Right? Wizardry is real, man. Revelation chapter, the Most High give you the inside scoop. Revelation 18 and 23. Right? It reads, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. This is the judgment of Babylon the Great. It reads, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth. Here's the point. For by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Does that mean somebody's up there with a potion? Okay, they're stirring up a big pot like a witch, and they got a big black hat on, and she got a big nose, and she got a broomstick that she flies upon that has a nasty laugh. Is that the sorcery that the Most High is talking about? Where they put cattail and frogs and a toad, and they stir it up and they give it to the people. Here, you drink this. Here's some sorcery. Or they got a magic potion. They pour it up, and it's no. You have spiritual wickedness in high places, right? You have people that dwell in Babylon the Great and secret parts of the earth that work hand in hand with wizards and warlocks to influence the people. Wasn't that that's the same thing in Numbers, right? Then they say, curse me this people. All right, let me get this in Numbers. All right, let's get this. Numbers chapter 22 and 6. So Balak did the same thing. But Balak hired Balaam to do the same thing. To put a spirit on the people. You can put spirits on people, man. That actually happens. You got people that dwell in the West that are putting spirits on people to go to war for their own agenda. And they don't know that. You think these people really know what's going on? They have no idea. They're all being bewitched. But it's really the Most High doing it. Right? Numbers 22 and 6. Come now, therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people, for they are too mighty for me. Peradventure I shall prevail, that we may smite them, and that I may drive them out of the land. For I wot that he whom thou bless is blessed, and he whom thou curses is cursed. So they actually were doing that, man. That goes back to the ancient days, putting spirits on people, cursing them, that you can defeat them in battle. Revelation 16 and 13. Let's read it again. And I saw 3 unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. Right? Now, your mouth is where you speak. Like in Daniel 7th chapter, it says they had a mouth that spake great things. Get that in Daniel. Right? Daniel chapter 7 and verse 20. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7, right? And verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, before whom 3 fell. That's talking about America, which is one of those horns that came up and took down 3 other horns. He took down France in a quasi war, in the French and Indian War, and they bought them out during the Louisiana Purchase. Another horn they took down was England. They took them down in the Revolutionary War, as well as the War of 1812. The third horn who they took down was Spain. They took down Spain in the Spanish-American War. So America came up out of Europe. They formed the 13 colonies, and they took down other European countries that had territory in the United States. So it's speaking about America coming into power and taking over this land through the concept of manifest destiny and ultimately rape, robbery, and murder. Right? That's what this is saying. But let's read it more about this horn. Even if that horn that had eyes and a mouth, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Now, how does America speak very great things? What are the great things that they speak? That they're God, that they're the Most High, they're Yahweh Shai, they're the angels, they're the chosen people. They speak many blasphemies, and they do it through the system that they have created. They do it through their education system. They speak through their media. They speak through their artwork. They speak through their politicians. So they have a mouth that speaketh very great things. Out of their mouth, it's not just literally them talking. It's really manifested through these different mediums that they use, man. Right? So the mouth of the false prophet and the mouth of the beast is really going into how Esau uses different instruments to push his agenda and really to push war. Right? Let's go back to Revelation 16 and 14. For there are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. And the battle of that great day is Armageddon. That is going to be the decisive time step to transition us from the present evil world into the next world. So you got your first world, which is the elder world. And you got the present evil world, and you're living in those last days of that world. And then you have the world to come. And the world to come is no doubt the kingdom of heaven. That is the world to come. And that's mentioned all throughout the Bible. But as of now, dealing with the last days of the present evil world, see, we got something latest, the latest and greatest, right? The latest and greatest. And we're hoping and praying that this thing continually escalates, right? We're praying that this thing continually escalates on the earth, right? And there are riots all over, man. Right? So you got people saying, praying Hezbollah doesn't officially decide to enter this war. If it does and Israel attacks Lebanon, we'll be in a path of no return. Yeah. If that really happens, it's over. If they really get involved and they attack Lebanon and Hezbollah's attacked, I mean, I don't see how this thing could go back to normal. This thing is building up. It's building up, man. These spirits are working mightily upon the earth. All right. See that? And these guys don't play around, man. Right? That these Persians or these Iranians don't play around. These Ishmaelites, man. They into this war. They're into this thing. See, these other nations, they don't have that wild man spirit. These Ishmaelites are wild men. You know? So it reads, Persian-backed Hezbollah ready to attack Israel from the north, allied with Muslim Brotherhood of Hamas. Right? Let's see if we can kind of confirm that. Right? Let's see if we can get a good date on this. Let's see. October 13th. Right? October 13th, 2023. That's what they're saying. Iran-backed Hezbollah terror group, now quote unquote, fully prepared to join war against Israel. They're saying they're fully prepared, meaning mentally, financially, militarily, economically, quote unquote, whatever demon they believe in spiritually, they're ready. And you see that manifest right now. If that remains to be true, that they're attacking Israel from a northern front, that means Israel's going to have two wars. They're going to defend themselves from the north, from Hezbollah. Then you also have, if you look up a map of the Middle East, right? Let's put up a map like we've done, right? Map. Middle East. Right? How to get WFI geography, right? Geopolitics is crucial to help understand biblical prophecy. You have to go into geopolitics. If you do not go into geopolitics, then you are doing yourself a disservice to understanding the will of Yahweh. Bashim Yahushua. Let's look at a map, right? You look up let's see if I can get a better map. There are better maps. All right, this isn't bad. Let's see if I can get this. All right, this is not bad. So you see Israel right here, right? And now you see Lebanon. Now, Lebanon and Syria are right next to each other. So if Lebanon is attacking Israel from the north and they're military allies with Syria, Syria is going to get involved. Syria will get involved. Iraq is not too far off either. Right? And then you have who? Iran. So the Mossad, remember, he's drying up this great river Euphrates, that the weight of the kings of the east might be prepared. So this river is damn near completely dried up because eventually Iran is going to have to support their military allies in the West. And they're going to have to move their tanks over to that region. They're going to have to move their personnel and military people over to that area. So that river has to be dried. That's prophecy in Revelation, the 16th chapter. So if Lebanon indeed truly, or Hezbollah is truly involved, and that RSII alliance remains steadfast, then you have no doubt that these major prophecies are going to come to pass, right? Now, the most I can do what he wanted to do. He can have things de-escalate, which I have to just put that out there, right? Or the most I can have this thing, which we're praying that the Most High had this thing kind of blow up, right? We really want Israel to drop a nuke, right? We want somebody to drop a nuke. Let's just be real. Somebody drop the nuke. You know? Yeah, we see gunfire. We see, minor missiles. And somebody do stop all of the talk, man. Drop the nuke. Press the big button, man, and set it off. Who's going to set it off? Hey, if I had connections, I would be calling these guys. Hey, look, stop playing, man. That's what I would say. Just press the button. I would call the leader of Iran. Hey, press the button. You know you want to. Then I would hang up and I would call Iraq, their leader. Hey, look, man, just press the button. I would be making phone calls. If it was up to me, I'd be making phone calls to everybody on the earth. You know you want to press the button. I would be persuaded. Hey, look, man, you can win this war, right? You can win this war. You got this, right? You got military. You got this. Then I hang up. Then I call them and hey, look, I'm thinking they thinking about. I would be causing massive. But guess what? I don't have to do nothing. The Most High is doing it, man. All right. The Most High got spirits on the earth working on all of these leaders, doing things on our behalf, man. That's why it says these are the spirits of devils working miracles, man. To get all of these nations and all of their military might and all of their armies, that's a miracle. To get everybody focused on one war, right? To leave the problems they have in their own country, their own financial issues, their own riots, and have them all come to war, that is a miracle. Let's go to Isaiah, right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 30, right? This Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 28, right? Isaiah chapter 30, I'm going to start at 27. Isaiah 30 and 27. Let me see where I'm at with time. All right, it reads, behold, the name of Yahweh cometh from far, burning with his anger, and the burden thereof is heavy. His lips are full of indignation, and his tongue as a devouring fire, and his breath as an overflowing stream shall reach to the midst of the neck, to the sifted nations with the sieve of vanity. Here's the point. And there should be a bridle in the jaws of the people, causing them to err. So the Most High is going to put a bridle in the jaws of the people and lead them in a way to destroy each other. So we really don't have to do anything. You put a bridle upon a horse to tell the horse what to do, to go right, go left, go north, go south, right, rest here, and you might tie it up and leave it here. And the Most High is doing that, man. He's put a bridle in the jaws of all of these world leaders, causing them to err in these last days in the present evil world, right? So again, we're hoping this thing goes down. Let's read a little of this, right? This is recent, right? This is recent. As of so-called, what is that? Last night. All right, let's jump down on this. In a tense escalation of the ongoing conflict, leaflets have been dropped in Gaza, warning more than 1 million citizens to evacuate the northern regions as Israel's military gears up for a significant deployment. Amidst these developments, foreign powers have pleaded with Hezbollah, the Lebanese terrorist group, to stay on the sidelines. However, Deputy Chief Naeem Qassem defiantly pledged the group's active participation when the time comes for action, right? Addressing a crowd in the southern Beirut suburb, Qassem dismissed behind-the-scenes efforts by global powers, Arab nations, and the UN envoys to deter Hezbollah's involvement, right? He said, quote, check out what he said, because he said that everybody's trying to downplay us getting involved. That's what he said. They want to act like we're not getting involved. The behind-the-scene calls with us by great powers, Arab countries, envoys of the United Nations, directly and indirectly, telling us not to interfere will have no effect. They said, we're not listening to you, man. Right? We're wild men. We're Ishmaelites. And the Most High said that they're going to remember their nature in 2nd Ezra 15. Right? What does it mean, remember their nature? They're going to remember that their hand is supposed to be against every man. And every man's hand is against them. So he said that has no effect on us. We're not listening to that, man. Here's what he said. Hezbollah knows its duties perfectly well. We are prepared and ready, fully ready, and we are following developments moment by moment. So they're watching moment by moment. They're like us, man. Everybody's watching. The world is on the brink of collapse, and the world leaders are on the edge of their seat, man, as this thing continues, day by day. And ultimately, this is going to shift and lead to what Yahweh Shai calls, what Yahweh Shai calls the world to come. Right? Matthew chapter 12 and verse 32. And whosoever speaketh the word against the Son of Man, it shall not be forgiven him. But whosoever speaketh against the Holy Spirit, it shall not be forgiven him, neither in this world, neither in the world to come. So Yahweh Shai knew that you had two separate worlds. Really, you had the elder world. He said in this world, and there's a world to come. The third world to come is the world of Israel, the kingdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And this world is going to be ended by Yahweh Shah returning, man. Because these are the last days, but there will be a last day. And the last day of this world is going to be in the battle of Armageddon. Right? Let's get that in Revelation 16. And that's going to usher in the third world. The third world is the world to come, wherein is peace, wherein is righteousness, love amongst the Israelites, and rulership and dominion on the entire earth. That is the world to come. And that is the world that we want to be in. We had our chance in the elder world and we failed. We hate life in the present world. But we're optimistic and we're hoping to be a partaker of the world to come. That is the third and final world. And we're approaching that world, right? Revelation chapter 16 and verse 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. So stay on tune and stay watchful with these prophecies, or you're going to be caught out there, right? And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. And that's going to be in that region, right? Let's pull up this map of the Middle East. This is where, I don't know, what is this madness? This is where Armageddon is going to take place. And the same region where the Lord is going to gather all these nations. And the place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Harmagadowan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which means a mountain of troops. Right? Now, Megiddo is an actual city in Israel. That's where the word Armageddon comes from. That's the same, etymology. Megiddo is a city in Israel. Armageddon or Megiddo was a city of significant battles. Right? That's what Josiah and other men had significant battles at in Megiddo in the time of Judges, the time of Josiah. So Megiddo has always been a monumental city of wars on the earth. So Armageddon is really just a major significant battle that's going to take place in this region and where these nations are going to be gathered together. It's inevitable, right? Let's read on. Revelation chapter 16 and 17. It reads, and the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, it is done. So once Yahushua destroys those other nations in Armageddon, that world is done. And then a new world to come will enter in, wherein dwelleth righteousness. That is the third world, and that is the world that we long to be in. Let's go to Revelation chapter 11 and 15. It reads, and the seventh angel sounded, and there were voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord, and of his Mashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever. What are the kingdoms of this world? Russia, China, United Nations, right? All of these Hamitic nations, all of those nations, which are the kingdoms of this world, they're going to be transitioned or translated rather into the kingdom of our Lord. Yahushua, he's going to rename all those nations. You're not going to know that landmass is Russia in the third world. You're not going to know that land is China in the third world. You're not going to be using the name France and England in the third world. In the third world, Yahushua is going to name everything back to what it's supposed to be. There are 18 nations in the Bible, and everybody's going to revert back to their biblical name. The boundaries of these nations are going to be reestablished. The people are going to be put back amongst one another. He's going to divide the nations all over again. Everything's going to be reset in the third world to come, huh? And we're going to be put back in our rightful seat of power and authority. So with that, I'm going to close up, giving, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh. Ba'ashima Mashiach Malak Yahushai. We're approaching the last days of the present evil world. The time period of the elder world is over, and we're looking forward to the world to come. Stay and watch with these prophecies, lest the Lord find you slipping and sleeping. With that, Yahweh Bashima Mashak Ramalak Yabashai, enjoy the new moon, enjoy the judgments on the earth, enjoy the fellowship, enjoy this truth being made manifest. Kwam Yashala, Shalom.